Speaking English fluently isn't just about knowing the words. It's about using them in the right way. Today, we are going to tackle 10 of the most common speaking mistakes that are holding you back from becoming your most fluent, confident self. Hello, learners. I'm teacher Kayla, and I am so glad to have you all here with me today. Let's be real. Mistakes happen, but understanding why they happen is the key to fixing them. In this lesson, I am going to break down what the mistakes are, why they happen, and how to finally fix them once and for all. Sound good? Let's get started. Mistake number 1, using the wrong article, confusing a, an, and the. So why does this happen? It can be confusing trying to figure out which one of these to use in a sentence. A and an are used for more broad, general topics that you haven't mentioned before, while the is used for more specific topics or topics that you have mentioned. Okay, quick practice. For example, which one of these sentences is correct? Ding, ding, ding. Yes, I saw a movie last night. The movie, or it, was great. So why is this one right? Well, the first sentence introduces the idea of a movie or any movie because they are not specific and don't tell us a name of the movie. So they say, I saw a movie last night. In the second sentence, we're now talking about the movie we saw last night, so it becomes more specific. So we can say the movie or it was great, because we are talking about the movie we watched last night. So how do we fix this moving forward? We have to remember the rule. Use a or an when you are talking about something that is broad, general, or something that you have not spoken about yet. And remember to use the when you are talking about something that is more specific or something that you've already mentioned. Mistake number 2, confusing ing and ed adjectives. So why is this confusing? It's because in English, we use ing and ed endings differently. And in most other languages, there's not a distinction between the two. So here's the rule. We use ing when we are talking about someone or something that is causing a feeling. For example, the movie is boring, and we use ed when we are talking about the emotion that we're feeling. For example, I'm bored because of the movie. All right, let's practice. Which of these sentences is correct? Ding, ding. The movie is exciting. Why? The movie can't be excited because the movie doesn't feel emotions, right? So how do you fix this moving forward? You need to remember the rule. We use ing when we are talking about the thing that is causing the feeling. And we use ed when we are talking about the person feeling it. Mistake number 3, mixing up similar sounding words. So what is the mistake? Learners mix up words that sound similarly, like assistance and assistant, or advice and advise, because these words have similar sounds and spellings. And it does get a little confusing, but each of these words do have different meanings. Quick practice. Which one of these sentences is incorrect? All right, This was a trick question. None of these sentences is correct. If you got that right, give yourself a pat on the back because that's a very good job. So how do we fix this? Well, this one's a little bit tough because you have to really try to practice words that sound similarly. You have to look into them, learn their meanings, learn their stress patterns, and study the differences to try to distinguish what's different about each of them. So, for example, an assistant is a person who helps someone else out with a task or at a job. For example, she is the boss's assistant. Assistance is the act of helping someone. So we could say the assistant provided him with assistance. And advice is a suggestion or piece of guidance. For example, do you have any advice about learning English? And advice is a recommendation or suggestion. This is the verb. We could use both of these words in a sentence to say, she advised me with some great advice on how to learn English. Mistake number 4, mixing up adjectives and adverbs. So why does this happen? It can be a little confusing because both of these words sound very similar, but adjectives are used to describe nouns and adverbs are used to describe verbs. So confusing the two can make for some awkward sentences. All right, let's try a quick practice. Can you guess which one of these sentences is correct? The correct answer is she sings beautifully. Why is this right? Well, beautiful describes a noun. So you could say she is beautiful if we're talking about she, a person, a noun. But in this sentence, we are talking about sings, right? Which is a verb. So we need to use the word beautifully, which is the adverb that describes the verb sings. So how do we fix this moving forward? Remember the rule. Use adjectives to describe nouns and use adverbs to describe verbs or actions. And remember, verb is in the word adverb to help you remember the difference between the two. Mistake number 5, error in question structure. Leaving out auxiliary verbs. So why does this happen? Many languages don't use auxiliary verbs to form questions, and this causes errors when learners or non-native speakers are trying to make English questions using the structure they're used to. Quick practice. Which one of these questions is correct? What does it look like? So why is this correct? Most English questions require an auxiliary verb to change a statement into a question. This is true unless the verb is be or the tense is continuous. So if we wanted to change this statement, it looks like a beach, into a question, what could we say? What does it look like? It looks like a beach. So how do we fix this moving forward? Think of does or other auxiliary verbs as helpers for forming questions. Practice common patterns like, where does she work? What does she do? Mistake number 6, forgetting prepositions. So why does this happen? Learners often leave out prepositions because they are used differently or not at all in many other languages. But in English, prepositions like at, in, or on are absolutely essential to connect words and give sentences their full meaning. Skipping them can confuse the listener or change the meaning of your sentence entirely. All right, let's practice. Which one of these sentences is correct? The correct answer is I'm good at English. Let's try another one. I'm interested in this topic. So why do we make this mistake and why is this true? So why does this continue being a problem? Well, just like I mentioned before, prepositions don't have direct equivalents in most languages, and their usage can seem a little inconsistent in English. In many other languages, prepositions might be implied for expressions like good at or interested in. This leads English learners or non-native speakers to leave out the words entirely or use the wrong ones. So how do we fix it? A good place to start would be by learning some common pairings of these words with prepositions. Some verbs and adjectives always go with specific prepositions. For example, good at, bad at, interested in, and excited about. You can focus on these full phrases to help you remember that they go together in the future. So instead of just learning good and at, learn it together. Good at. I'm good at English. I'm good at basketball. Again, learning these phrases together can help you to remember them in the future. Keep a list of common collocations or these word pairs to help you practice and remember them in the future. Mistake number 7, mixing up countable and uncountable nouns. So why does this happen? Uncountable nouns like furniture or information don't take on plural forms in English, even though some languages treat them as countable. All right, let's practice. Which one of these sentences is correct? I need some information. Why is this right? Well, uncountable nouns represent concepts or things that can't be divided up into individual items without adding or changing words. So adding an S at the end is unnecessary. So how can we fix this mistake moving forward? For uncountable nouns, you have to use quantifiers like some, a lot of, a piece of, and remember never to use an S at the end of an uncountable noun. For example, I need a lot of advice, or she bought a piece of furniture. Number 8, more versus more better. So what's the mistake? In English, better already compares two things. Adding more before better makes the sentence redundant and causes a double comparison. Okay, let's practice. Which one of these sentences is incorrect? The incorrect sentence is this is more better. So the correct sentence is this is better. Why is this true? So in a lot of languages, it's common to emphasize comparisons by using words like more. Learners might try to apply that same sort of logic in English, but unfortunately that's not the case. So how do we fix this problem? Stick to just one comparison word. Understand that words like better, bigger, and smaller are already comparative. They don't need more or less to work. For example, this book is better than the last one, or this movie is worse than part 1. You can use more when you are wanting to compare something that has a regular adjective that don't have comparative forms. For example, this dress is more beautiful than the other one. We don't use the word beautiful to compare two things, so we do need the word more in front of beautiful. In order to remember what words are comparatives, you need to study a list of comparative words so that you can understand that if you want to emphasize something is good, then it becomes better. If you want to emphasize something is bad, it becomes worse. Far becomes farther. By learning these comparative words, you'll understand when you should just leave them alone and when you should add more. Mistake number 9, confusing when to use am with verbs. So why does this mistake happen? This mistake happens because in some languages, verbs like agree are used as a state of being. So you might say something like, I am agree. However, in English, verbs like agree stand alone in the simple present tense and don't need the word am. This leads to confusion about when to use am and when to leave it out. All right, let's practice. Which one of these sentences is correct? I agree with you. So it might be a little confusing to understand that you use am when you are in continuous tense, but you don't need am when you have a verb that is in simple present tense. So when we have a continuous sentence, a verb with an ing ending, then we do need am at the beginning. For example, I am agreeing to the terms for now. But in present tense, we do not need am. So we do not say, I am agree to the terms. We would leave out am and say, I agree to the terms. So how do we fix this moving forward? You need to remember that you don't need am when using the simple present tense of a verb. You use am when you have a present continuous verb with an ing ending. Mistake number 10, misusing to and so. Why it happens. To often expresses negativity or excess, while so is used for more positive emphasis. All right, let's practice. Which one of these sentences is incorrect? The incorrect sentence is I'm too happy to see you. So that means the correct sentence is I'm so happy to see you. Why is I'm too happy to see you incorrect? Saying too happy suggests something negative or too much. So how do we fix this? Remember to use too when you're talking about something negative. It's too noisy here. It's too crowded. And use so for more positive things. I'm so excited about our trip. I'm so happy you could make it. Great work today, everyone. You are well on your way to dramatically improving your English speaking skills by fixing some of the most challenging and difficult mistakes that I see speakers making all the time. Let me know which one of these explanations was the most helpful for you in fixing some of these mistakes. Let me know if you have any other confusing questions about English so that I can try to address those in the future. Remember, mistakes are just stepping stones on the way to success. See you next time.